Ready. Oh, it was.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm the Kentucky Atheist. That's Azo. Today I have the Stacie's Mom podcast crew here, Stacie and Dee. And how are you guys doing today?
Great.
So good.
Literally the whole crew. We're here.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah.
it's us.
Cast and crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm the crew for this show. Azo just shows up to give me a hard
I'm the
time,
furniture.
So.
And this is 3 months, ago, so this is pre-recorded. Remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you guys want to say hello to everybody, or I know that you're streaming on a second channel. Do you have anything you need to introduce to your audience before we start talking about things?
Yeah, well, actually wanted to say thanks to everyone for subscribing this week because we just hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank you.
And over that, we're over the top.
Yeah. So that's been a big milestone. So yay.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us on your channel.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh no, thanks for agreeing. You guys are slumming it today.
Oh yeah, totally slumming.
You guys are
You know what? I
are down
love
in the
meeting
bowels of
people.
YouTube.
Oh my god.
Not true.
The
Hey, we met you through Ember, so I don't consider that
Yeah.
slumming it.
No.
Ember's amazing. So
Yeah, and as Nara said, congratulations, congratulations on 1,000
you.
subscribers. You guys just started this year or in 2023, correct?
yeah, in May. Yeah,
Yeah.
we started in May,
I
and
think I was a couple months later.
okay.
I think that I had watched a couple episodes of your show. I know that Jimmy Snow had mentioned your show before I started. So
Jimmy? Do we know Jimmy?
I don't know who that is.
Jimmy?
yeah,
Jimmy Blizzard, Jimmy Windy, Jimmy Snow.
No.
Jimmy
Yeah,
Snow.
yeah.
go fuck
Yeah.
yourself, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy. Okay, yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
guy.
Oh, you should have got your mug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy's the one who kind of gave us the
Final shove.
push to start our channel, and
He named our channel.
he actually named our show. Yeah. So
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's cool.
he
we were not going to call it that.
I tried to say no, we don't want to call it that, and
I tried to say,
and
no.
he's like, no, that's what you have to call it. There's only one name, and this is it. And I'm like, okay, fine. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a catchy name is so important.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
and it's definitely, because many channels I forget the name of or how it's spelled or something like that, but ever since the mention of that, I've remembered. So
Oh,
good.
there you
As long
go.
as you're
Yeah.
spelling my name right.
Yeah, some people they'll look right at our show and still spell her name without the IE. So, and as
Yeah.
her mom, that kind of sometimes grinds my gears, but whatever. Yeah.
well, I pay attention to that because my mom's name is Sherry, and it's spelled Sherri.
That was my best
And-
friend growing up, how she spelt it.
And she would always get upset when people misspelled her name. So I
Yeah.
try to be good about that.
I'm very
Um,
cognizant of how people spell their
Yeah.
names for that reason. So good job.
Yeah. Well, I've watched several episodes of your show as they aired. I've been, in fact, I've talked in the chat several times, and
Awesome.
Thank you. I'm unable to chat during the show because only the crew can do that.
I'm the crew.
And I'd have to be like on my phone to do it, and I can't do that. It's
Yeah.
occasionally I will if I see someone like a close friend or someone that has popped in for the first time, and I recently had a friend who passed away, William, and he used to come in and say hi, and I would make a point of saying hi to him. And in retrospect, I'm really glad that I did that quite often, because he's not with us anymore. But other than that, I try to just concentrate on the show and what's going on.
Well, I'm horrible for getting sidetracked, and especially horrible for like reading the chat and completely forgetting what I'm talking about. But,
well, we'll do our best to help you out today.
It'll happen at least once. I'll just completely zone out and be reading something while looking at the screen. But we got a super chat already, $5 from Pinworm. Thank you. He says, "Hey, Ember is live too. I just wanted to show you some support. Hope all is well. Congrats."
Nice.
The congrats
Very
is for you
nice.
guys.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Pinworm. Yeah, I'm ready for some trivia pursuit again too, bud. Sorry, just had to get a shout out to him. He said hi to me. At least somebody cares.
You need to do that again.
He's my group.
He's my one groupie.
So you guys, how to best explain this? You both were believing Christians, and you deconverted separately at first and then together later. Is that kind of?
I'd say that pretty much summed that up. I wouldn't elaborate.
Yeah.
That's not a very good story.
Right. No, I was just opening the door.
I know. So
Just
we
cracked it
deconverted
open.
together, and then we did it at the same time, and that's the end. So thanks.
Bye.
For
Thanks for coming,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks for coming. This is 3 months ago too. Don't forget.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want us to just kind of share that story and how?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Where do we begin?
Okay, well, when Stacie was about 5 years old.
Okay, we're starting there.
Yep. When Stacie was about 5 years old, I went to a healing service, and I was absolutely positively sure I would be healed. My eyesight would be healed. I had all the faith I needed. When my eyes were not healed, I called bullshit, and I continued to live in the Christian bubble from that time until, how old were you when you deconverted?
37.
From the age she was 5 till she was 37, I continued to live in this little Christian bubble because I didn't have anyone to talk to about the fact that I didn't believe, because I was just surrounded by Christians. And every time I did try to stick my toe in the water of unbelief, atheism, whatever you want to call it, I was quickly just jarred right back, because even though I was sure there wasn't a God and I didn't believe, I had this crazy, debilitating fear of hell. So I always had that, well, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? I'll burn in hell for eternity. So that kind of kept me in check. And I had a couple of marriages along the way, and I was in a particularly abusive one at one time. And there was just a lot of stuff going on that just too much to explain right now. But what kept me in the Christian bubble was the fact that my mother, first of all, had a very strong, domineering presence in my life. She was also a very well-respected Christian. Whatever church we attended, she ended up in some kind of leadership or prophetic role in the church we would go to. We were very much fundamentalists. And I just felt trapped. And so by the time Stacie came out and started her own journey of deconstruction, I was relieved. So when she came out and told me, she took me out for coffee and told me I don't believe in God anymore. I felt like someone stuck a pin in this giant balloon inside me, and I could breathe. Oh. And I was so relieved. I'm surprised I didn't cry, to be honest with you.
I was I'll go through my
Yeah.
story to that moment, but I was so surprised because I was worried that she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, are you sure? Like, what are you doing?" But I knew she wouldn't be upset at me. But I was shocked at how excited she was at me saying, "I don't believe in God anymore." And I kept saying, "You can do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to not believe because I don't believe anymore." But she's like, "No, this is great." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So,
Just a little side note. One of the reasons our podcast came to be was because after all that happened, we would sit and have discussions. Things like Stacie would say to me, "Oh my God, this is why you never made me read the Bible. This is why you didn't make us have Bible studies or memorize scripture. This is why you were never like, we have to go to church. And this is why you never did this. And this is why you didn't do that." And I'd say, yeah. And this is why I said to her, "Do you remember every once in a while I'd come to you and say, so when you pray, do you actually believe that God hears you and your prayers will be answered?" And you would say, "Yeah, yes." Okay, because every so often I would just kind of want to pull at the thread of her faith to see if it was for real. And it really was. It really, really was. And there was a few times in my last marriage where I would go to my husband. I literally went to my last husband and said to him a few times, twice that I can remember for sure, and said, "I don't think I believe in God." And he jumped down my throat. "You can't say that. You can't say that. We're Christian." And so I just retreated. And okay. I'm sorry. And so I tried with him, and he just wouldn't hear me. So I didn't have anyone. And I did know that my brother wasn't a believer. He was a very outspoken non-believer, but we were estranged for over a decade. And happily, we are not estranged anymore. Religion was the thing that caused the estrangement ultimately. But when he saw that our deconversion was in fact for real and it wasn't, that it stuck, the family, that part of the family has been reunited, and relationships have been restored. It's amazing. So that's something that has been so positive. And
well, the question I would have is, did you guys go to church together, the same denomination? Because I don't know what your living situation was, I guess, is if you live close enough, and and for you to hide that for 30
Stacie
some
always
years,
went to church. Stacie always found a way to go to church, and I would go periodically. Luckily for me, in my last marriage, we owned a business. It was a moving company, so we were open a lot on Sundays. So I always had the excuse of sometimes not being able to go, and then sometimes just saying, "No, this is the one Sunday we're closed, and I just don't want to go." She understood. She understood.
I did, but
you were coming up with excuses not to go while she was going faithfully.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, do you have a question?
Yeah. What are you guys coming to us from Canada? Is that where you're at? Okay. I thought I detected
over. We're done.
A slight Canadian accent.
This podcast is over. We're done.
I wasn't sure, but I thought I heard the accent, and I knew that you were further north than Kentucky for sure. But
accent, please.
Yeah,
we're in British Columbia, Canada.
Oh, okay, nice.
So the church, most of our church, or my church journey, was in Vancouver.
Okay.
So
okay.
So that's
all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead now.
I will.
that context is important to me anyway, because
and it was Pentecostal, or if we either went to a Pentecostal church or non-denominational. So, but either way, it was always holy rollers, speaking in tongues,
we should make that
hands in the
That's
air.
What I was asking when you said the healing
loud
thing,
and proud and crazy stuff going on all the time. The
my
crazier, the better.
Was a devout Pentecostal.
Yeah,
speaking in tongues.
And literally, the crazier, the better.
Yeah. Actually, we went to Benny Hinn's brother's church for a little while.
Yeah. Henry.
Oh,
Henry
wow.
Hinn. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had a church in the area, and we went there a couple times and went to a church.
We were into Joyce Meyer and
Yeah.
Kenneth Copeland, and
Yeah, we went to like their conferences
all
a bunch
the
of times, and
So instead of her bringing you for a cup of coffee, conversation, it should have been, let's go get a Long Island iced tea. I got shit to tell you, girl.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
yeah. If it wasn't the time of day, we probably
Yeah.
would have gone out for a glass of
Oh,
wine.
totally.
Yeah.
Before I tell my story, I just want to say hi to a couple people that have come into the chat. If you
Yeah,
don't mind.
sure.
Wade Rogers, he's going to be on our show tomorrow. So I wanted to say hi. I wanted to say hi to George, who we freaking love.
Yes.
So hi. And there's people I can see that have come from our channel. So
Oh,
yeah.
so lovely.
Hi, everyone.
You have
And you got a super chat. And
Kalasia super
yeah.
chat $5 said hi to you guys. And Robin Webster donated
which is
or
awesome.
gifted a membership to someone. I can't see
Wow.
who. And
She gifted me a membership to Embers. So
Oh.
awesome, Wade.
Wade, yes.
Yeah.
That has
I'll
happened.
get into that. So.
Okay.
Um
Thank you, Wade.
yeah. Okay. So I was a good little Christian girl.
Really good. A little
Hi,
too
Trent.
good.
I was a very good little Christian girl. And that caused me a lot of distress. I'll be honest with you. Anxiety and just a lot of distress. I was just basically, I didn't do anything wrong, quote unquote. I was just really hard on myself, and I was very much I was the kind of person that was always, when they say, oh, do you have any hidden sin in your life? I would instantly feel that conviction, like, oh, I must have hidden sin all the time. I was just thinking they must be talking about me. And I took that very seriously. And it just, caused me a lot of anxiety. So
in turn caused me a lot of anxiety.
because
I was her confessor. She
Yeah.
confessed
So
everything to me, even if
from
I
a
said
very
nothing.
young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very young age. So Christianity was more of a mental prison looking back, and now I just have a lot of like relief not being a Christian anymore. So in that regard, I'm just a huge advocate for getting out for your mental health.
Yeah.
Especially. Anyways, so I was very devout, and I think when I turned about 19 or 20, I realized, okay, I can't rely on my family. I can't rely on anyone. I need to take my walk with the Lord seriously. This is my responsibility. So I got myself planted in a church, and I started going regularly on my own. And I was, I just was like, okay, this is up to me now. I'm going to do this. So I started going. And then when my husband and I he wasn't a Christian, but he would come to church with me, and he basically did whatever he could just to make me happy because he loved me. And when we had kids, it was super important to me to raise them to be believers, to one day ask Jesus into their heart and to, follow the Lord. And I was really hoping one of them would become a pastor or something. So we put them in Christian school, a private Christian school, and just basically had our whole lives bubble wrapped in Christianity. And in 2019, I feel like that's when I started my whole deconstruction without realizing I was deconstructing. Because we were in charismatic churches, I started really questioning like the theology of it all and the music that we were listening to, like the Christian music, which kind of got me just deconstructing music and like what the songs we were singing, are we actually singing about God or are we singing about ourselves? And so from there, I was just kind of researching that aspect of Christianity. I wanted to go deeper into the text and learn more, because I was feeling like the churches we were at were just sort of throwing up a couple of verses on the screen. And yeah, they were just very seeker friendly churches, meaning they just wanted to draw people in, and they were very much like a concert, a show. And I felt we're not really learning about God. We're not learning theology properly. And so that was important to me. So I came across a documentary called American Gospel. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but it's they basically, you can jump in and help me with any of this too, but
they basically let her know that the religion we were practicing was a bunch of crap.
Yeah, so they exposed like the word of faith, like they exposed Joyce Meyer, Kenneth Copeland, all of those, Benny Hinn, like just the name it and claim it, everything that I believe, speaking in tongues. They were just like, this is all false religion. And it was what I was like, oh, this is actually a really good documentary, but it was very heavily reformed. So Calvinism was the focus of that documentary. So I left charismatic Christianity, and I was like, oh, well, I've had Christianity wrong my whole life. I don't think I've ever been a Christian. Now I actually need to get saved. So I need to start diving into all these reformed preachers and books and all these things. And that led me into Reformed theology and Calvinism. So I found super religious.
Okay. Meanwhile,
oh yeah, I showed her the documentary.
She showed me the documentary.
I was blown away. I'm like, you have to see this. Christianity as we know it has been fake. Here's the real Christianity.
But I had already known I didn't believe in God, but we were living in separate cities. I was living over on Vancouver Island and she was living on the mainland, and we were on the phone with each other just in dead silence. She was in dead silence because she was like, what the fuck?
I was so stunned. I didn't say what the fuck though. I was a Christian.
Yeah, she was thinking it.
Good Dolly G. Willikers, Batman.
Exactly.
And then I'm on the other end in silence going, I don't believe any of it. This just completely clenched it for me. But she's thinking, she's even saying, well, now where do I go to church? And I'm like, I'm never going to church. Like, this is it. Like, but why can't I get rid of this ridiculous fear of hell? Like, it was just,
yeah.
And we just sat there in silence.
I couldn't talk because my world felt like it flipped upside down. Like Christianity as I knew it was not anything. I was like, I actually wasn't a Christian. Now I need to like repent.
It's like being told you had to learn an entire new language as an adult.
Right.
And you don't know where to start.
So I was feeling so grateful that now I knew the truth. And I also was very just like, okay, I have to start from scratch. But all these feelings of doubts that I had about this word of faith, like speaking in tongues and healing and prophecy, all these doubts that I had were confirmed that they weren't, like, that wasn't real. So I was like, okay, so I always kind of knew this was a little weird, and now I know it's not real. So I'm not going to allow myself to not ask questions ever again, because that feeling I had is confirmed that was fake, right? So I made myself that promise in 2019 to just be like, okay, go with your gut. And so that's why I say I feel like my deconstruction started then. Even though I didn't necessarily leave, I gave myself permission to ask questions. So I might have gotten a little deeper for a while into a very strange, strict church. But I was like, okay, I'm going to just continue asking questions. So we became members at this Calvinist church because they were very forceful of that. They were like, if you're going to come here as a guest or a visitor, either you become a member or you leave, because like you can't just keep coming and not commit, basically is what they told us. And I was like, well, you're a Bible-based church. I don't know where else to go. I guess we should become members, because, well, where else am I supposed to go? Or right. So we became members in January of,
Yeah, I
I guess
that.
hell. Yeah, okay. So we became members in January of 2021. So actually 3 years ago this month. And then we did it, but I wasn't like, I didn't feel like 100% committed.
So let me ask a question real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
You said that you gave yourself permission to ask questions. Now, were you asking questions of church leaders, or you were asking yourself questions and then answering? That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah. I was asking myself.
Yeah.
And allowing myself to find answers. So in this like ceremony, I want to call it a ceremony that they had, our kids had to be baptized. So they practice like sprinkling of the water, even though it's not Catholic. They sprinkled our kids with water. We had to basically say that we would come under like church authority. And they practice really strict church discipline if we were to stray in any way.
They drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well,
no, but inside I was like, I'm still going to do what I want to do. They're not going to control me. And that's kind of what my husband was thinking too. He's like, this is not like, they're not going to run our life. Right.
Okay. They put the Kool-Aid in their mouth and then they
exactly. We're like, sure. Tastes interesting. Yeah, you probably could use a squirt bottle.
Yeah.
So that happened. And then a few months later,
that happened.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, we moved. We moved 4.5 hours away to a small town. And
to
where we live now. And when we moved, the pastor was like, you got to get into a church. You got to get into a church. He kept like phoning and like, have you found a church? Have you found a church? And I was like, well, we're trying. And we were, but he didn't like any of the churches. He's like, oh, that's not a good church. Oh, they're not really like don't go there, blah, blah, blah. Like he was being very like picky.
They won't recognize
your children's baptism is what he said. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I don't really care. So the more that we weren't, the other thing is that church that we became members at, they had 2 services every Sunday that you had to go to. And we didn't always go. And whatever. So it was really nice to just like be here and not have that pressure of feeling like we had to attend church twice on a Sunday, right?
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I know. So when we came here, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, we can breathe. We don't have to we're not finding a church that has 2 services. So that was the first kind of breath of fresh air. But here's the thing. I would listen to sermons on YouTube all the time. And when we moved, I stopped doing that. And I just kind of like backed away from everything. And it was also like during the height of everyone getting like vaccinated because it was 2021. And the church we were at, like people were very against it. And I was starting to be like, why are all the Christians so against this? Like they're being so weird. And I started listening to more podcasts on like QAnon and cults and all this stuff. And I was starting to see the similarities between like religion, Christianity, and just
you had that. Remember that kind of what started this though is you asked me what was the difference between.
Buddy.
You asked me about Christians.
Oh, that was years before. Yeah. That was a couple of years before.
But you noticed the difference.
I was noticing just a lot of similarities between cults and all these things.
And Christianity.
And so that's that's kind of what started it. And so allowing myself to ask questions is what began all this. And because we weren't going to church every Sunday, I was like, this is actually more interesting. I'm going to start looking at these similarities, and maybe all of this isn't real. And I started watching documentaries on like Noah's Ark and finding out that that's mythology. And that was sort of the tipping point, and my mind was getting blown. And from there, it just kind of was like snowballing, and I started joining more scary subreddits like ex-Christian, and I was terrified because they were making a lot of sense. Thought they're not going to know anything. And then I read through them. I'm like, oh, wait, they actually know a lot. And that's kind of how it happened. And then it was in December of 2021 that I realized this is all fake. This is all bullshit. This is not real.
Oh, now she can say bullshit. She couldn't say it before because she's not a Christian.
I know. So
fuck that shit.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it all started. And I was doing it all on my own. No one was like, I didn't have a friend that I made. I wasn't like, there was nobody that was like, hey, you should check this out. It was just sort of like,
she was on a self-guided tour.
Yeah, a self-guided tour. The wheels were turning, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So
being so close to the time that you lost your faith, I guess would be the way to say it, or that you stopped believing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still catch yourself like doing certain things that you only do because they were taught in church or through your belief in God, like certain things you say and do? Do you
like
understand what I mean?
Or any, like,
well, not praying, like just for example, like you said, you didn't used to cuss. I don't imagine the day that you stopped believing, you was like, hell yeah, I can cuss.
Yeah.
It kind of rolls off my
Yeah.
tongue. It rolls off my tongue a lot more now.
We read somewhere that that's one of the very first things Christians, as soon as they stop believing, that's one of the very first things they start doing. And it is very true. We did. It's almost like an in your face too.
One, I don't know if this is kind of the answer you're looking for, but one thing that I just tested because I was like, I want to say this. I said, I hate you, God. Even though I didn't believe in him, I just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
And then I also tried I said, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
But I wanted it was cathartic.
Because we wouldn't even say, oh my God, before.
No.
We'd say, oh my gosh.
But it was very it was
now it's oh my fucking God.
Yeah. It was very cathartic. I wanted to just say it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so saying
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Finish your thought. I wanted to answer that super chat question that I said I would, but go on.
Saying things like goddamn and things like that. Or just saying God or Jesus Christ. Those were things that kind of felt weird to me at first. And also, just to mention, we in Kentucky, it's churches twice every Sunday everywhere. That's
it was,
in the morning and in the evening.
But it wasn't mandatory.
Yeah.
We had it in even the Pentecostal church.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But it was mandatory where she was, or you could get disciplined.
So speaking of that.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yes.
Okay. That's the super. I was like, I need to answer that. So the church that we became members at, even though we moved away, they still practice church discipline and shunning, I guess is what you could say. And so when they found out that I was an atheist, they started calling us out during their services and making formal announcements and disciplining us for 7 months, sending us emails, sending us formal letters, and then making 3 or 4 announcements before they finally excommunicated us. And these were live streamed on YouTube. And it was just really terrible. And then they would bring us up during, I know, I see your face. And then, and then they would, what was I going to say? Because I saw your face. Stop making that face.
I hate them.
I know. They
mentioned my grandsons by name from the pulpit on a live stream on YouTube.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's even worse than Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, I studied with them and walked away 2 weeks before to get baptized, and they do shunning to the 10th, but they don't even go that far even. Unless they changed it in 20
They
years.
did. And
That's
then
awful.
they tried, when someone said something about it, they tried to say, oh, it was a mistake. That wasn't supposed to be on.
Yeah,
Like,
they said they weren't
the
supposed to
ever
broadcast that part.
They knew what they were doing.
The main
That's when
reason,
you say, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah. Oh, one of the main reasons we think that they finally drew it to a close when they did is because I felt helpless. I wanted them to threaten libel and threaten, like, call a lawyer and threaten to sue them. But I went on Google and wrote a review about the church, a scathing review, and
It was the following Sunday. They finally,
they drew everything to a close.
so I was like,
Wow.
oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. They knew what they were doing. I imagine that was was on purpose.
Yeah.
We got Al said, glad he remembered this was happening. Hell,
That's how he says hello.
Al.
By the way,
It wouldn't have been the same without your hell.
yeah. What's funny is before, when Joe first told me about you guys coming on, or at least Stacie, I said, what amazes me that you've only been out for 2 years, and I know it's not like a 90-day, fiance, type of show, 90-day atheist, but I said Stacie still comes across so innocent and naive until I seen the clip of who was it, you and Dave Warnock and the presuppositionist, and you spent the whole time laughing at him, and all of a sudden, boom, the smart part of your brain kicked in and just put him in his place, and it's like, holy shit, this girl's got it going on like her mom.
Like that.
She just,
Thank you.
She just puts up with it for so long.
Oh yeah,
But-
it was just like a trigger. Wait,
Yeah.
okay, time out.
Yeah.
Oh my
No.
gosh. Yeah.
I have a.
Is
I call
sweet
him.
and super innocent, but she won't put up with shit.
Yeah. I call him my Twitter troll, but I have this theist Daniel that comes on often that I talk to, and I try to be nice and friendly with him, but usually after so much of him saying the same wrong thing over and over and over, I'm like, are you fucking listening to me? Like, do you hear what I'm saying? Like,
I actually had to leave a broadcast or a stream because of it. It's like, I've had enough. I'm going to go act like, I got a migraine or something, Margaret. Oh.
That apologist trick of where I'm going to purposely try to talk over your head so that then I can talk down to you in a condescending way.
Yeah.
That burns me up.
Yeah.
That gets to me because I don't do that to people. I make it a point to try and meet people where they're at instead of trying to make them look stupid, I guess was the idea. And Dave wasn't having it either. He was like, just put it in regular words. Just what it, this isn't why you believe. This isn't why you believe.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
yeah. Dave said later he wished he would have just laughed like Stacie did right from the get-go.
Yeah.
He got a little heated, and he's like, I should have just laughed the whole time like Stacie did. I have to start laughing more, he said.
I started laughing right away. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, it was a call on Dying Out Loud from about a month ago, and the caller was Jared, and it was so okay. I just started laughing instantly, and I was like, "Wait, should I be laughing? Am I the stupid one right now?" And then I looked at the chat, and everyone was like, "What is this person saying?" I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I've been breaking out the dictionary to figure out what the hell he was saying
using
because he
like
didn't know what he
17
was saying.
syllable words. But then he called back and talked to Matt
and Eric from Skeptics and Scoundrels
the next night or whatever, and he did not speak to them the same way.
He was not as
He knew that he was out of his
Matt would have caught that immediately.
Oh,
and
yeah.
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 I was driving when he called in, and I quickly called my husband. I'm like, turn it on, calling Matt right now. And my husband's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Matt was like, he knew everything to say.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, this guy's such an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That people call them the philosophy bros or the philosophies.
Yeah.
I love that.
That approach just, I try to be like, I don't know. I try to accept people, again, wherever they're at with it. But sometimes it's like, okay, I don't care about your arguments. Tell me what
I
you
don't
believe.
care.
Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The I and
Just
if
know.
you're making an argument like that, your goal isn't to explain or to defend as
No.
apologia means, but the that's not the goal there anyways. The goal is to confuse, and then when you get confused, to say, see, you're confused because I'm right.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. I was like, no.
so the Pentecostal thing, first of all, and the televangelist. My grandmother was devout Pentecostal and sat and watched Jimmy Swaggart and even
Jimmy.
Oral Roberts, going back that far. Sat and watched those people. That, in fact, if her TV was on, that was why. And she was very, very religious. She, in fact, when she passed away, her hair was down past her knees.
Wow.
I never saw her wear anything other than slacks and blouses, and or if a dress. When I was younger, once I got older, she only wore like these dress slacks all the time that they told her was okay, I guess. But here in Kentucky, the Pentecostal thing, this is where the snake biting churches and things reside. There's one of those about 15 minutes down the road from me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be illegal now, but they don't care.
Well, that's just persecution.
Yeah. Well, there was a famous story of a guy in Kentucky, of course, that died, and he was the second person from that church that died from letting water moccasins bite him and stuff. Yeah, not very bright.
No.
But you had mentioned Dee, you had mentioned that when Stacie was younger, that you had went to be healed, and that's a big thing that I do scripted videos on, is televangelists and the crazy shit they tell and do to people. And I'm glad that you recognized that, not only, first of all, recognize that you were not healed, because so many people believe that they were, even if they're not. And that you were able to call bullshit on that, because those guys are
this guy was from Louisiana too. He came up here from Louisiana, and I chose something that could not be denied. It was my eyesight. So
right. Yeah. My grandmother always told me that she was having some, little background first. When I was a child, I had a couple warts on my hands, a thing that happens. And my grandmother told me that this guy was going to come over and make them go away, that he would pray or something, and that the next day I wouldn't have them. And I was like, I don't think that's going to work. But she believed completely. So I let her have the guy come over and stuff. And he was, talking in tongues and all that stuff. And I was just like, I'm sitting there, because while I was raised in the church, I wasn't raised with the Pentecostal ideology. It
Mhm.
was Southern Baptist all the way. And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Total
so
opposite.
yeah, and so I'm sitting there with my mouth open, like, what in the world is going on? Because I'd never even heard anyone do that to that point, and I was
Yeah.
like, I thought something was wrong with him, or I'm looking at my
Oh, there
grandmother
was.
like, yeah. But I think it's funny too that you mentioned that they insisted that you become a member immediately,
Mhm.
and it's like I think the where you moved from one church to another, that had a whole different way of doing things. I think at first you said you thought, oh well, all those people are wrong and things, and I think that's probably a good thing, because then that led you to, well, what about these people? Because that's really the thing that got to me a lot, was whenever I started discovering other religions and other versions of Christianity and things, and I was like that, but if you're right, you're saying those people are wrong, and those, they're not bad people. They just believe
Mhm.
differently.
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
don't think that's cool. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that really, and then I was like, well, let's look at these other religions. And then it was like, okay, so if you're right, that means that all these other people are wrong. And your loving God wants to burn all these people for an
Yes.
eternity
Mhm.
because of they were taught differently,
Yeah.
because it's not like, all things being equal, I don't think someone would just pick up on religion. I mean, it has parts of it that are appealing, I guess, and of course it's subsisted for thousands of years. But I don't think without that cultural push that people would really buy into that, without it being put in their head earlier anyway.
Mhm.
Some do.
Indoctrination.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, indoctrination, that's the name of the game when it comes to religion.
Mhm.
But I mean, if I had lived in a family that was atheists, for example, and been raised in Kentucky, which is just like crazy hypothetical because that doesn't happen, but the I would I would I don't think that I would have had a very good childhood, or because I would have been treated differently by the other kids for sure.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
and and so there's some parts of that I'm like, well, I'm
True.
kind of glad that it happened that way, and that I discovered it later.
Mhm.
Because just the same as I don't think telling someone else what they should believe is a good thing, telling them what they shouldn't believe isn't either. Beliefs aren't really choices. You have to discover this
Mhm.
at some point, and then once you see it, then it's like you can't unsee it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are people that go back, but for the life of me, I can't understand how that works.
No. No.
But yeah, I had a feeling. I didn't know that you guys had been any part of the Pentecostal church, but I told Stacie in an email that some things you say kind of sound familiar to me, and that's why the because if there are Catholic churches, and there's Pentecostal churches, and all the different denominations here, but they're all Southern Baptists. They're all,
Okay.
except some of the really far out there Pentecostal churches, and
Yeah.
they stick to the strict Pentecostal teachings and stuff. But you could go to any type of church, and it's going to be pretty much the same thing. The I don't know if that's just I don't know why they do that, because in a town of what is there, 18,000 people in the city. This is the city too, and there's like there's probably 200 churches here.
Whoa.
Yeah, if not more.
Oh my
In
gosh.
stereo.
I can
Yeah.
stand in town and see like 3 or 4 churches from one corner. Like it's
So everyone must go to church there.
oh yes.
It's like going to Seattle and coffee shops.
A lot of churches.
Or
And they're all
smoke
young
shops.
Earth
Too many.
creationists.
We have a lot of churches here.
Yeah, well, we were the highest per capita at one time in this town. When we
Really?
were little. Yeah, Vernon was the highest per capita.
And of all those churches, they're almost all young Earth creationist fundamentalists here. So
Well, yeah.
it's
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's
Yikes.
it's an interesting situation. And for me, whenever I went to like college and I took some physics classes and things of that sort, and I was learning things that just completely contradicted, what I was taught in church. And
Yep.
at first I was like, well, let science be science, and and I'll still believe in this thing. But eventually, it got to a point though where I'm like looking around the classroom in my physics class, and I'm like, all these people are hearing this stuff, and this doesn't matter to them. Why does this bother me so badly? And there's a lot of there was always a lot of shame and stuff put on asking any kind of question or doing anything like that around here. So it was weird. I told the story yesterday in a computer science class. I had said something about I'd been reading about evolution and stuff, and chimpanzees are 98% the same as far as DNA.
Mhm.
And I had said that to somebody sitting beside me, and some guy like 3 seats down stands up and says, "You're not going to tell me I came from no damn monkeys." And I'm like, what is going on in here? This was a computer science class. Like,
Oh my gosh.
and I wasn't even talking to him. I was talking to someone else. But so yeah, I kind of get some of the Kool-Aid drinking thing anyway.
Yeah.
They insist that you buy in. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say Kentucky's where the ARC experience is, right? Or the
Yeah, it's
ARC
about
encounter
45
or whatever.
minutes for me. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't handle.
I just think the Canadians have better Kool-Aid than the Kentuckians.
Yeah,
Less
yeah,
preservatives.
Yeah.
religion actually, even as a kid, is kind of scary here. Like growing up in it, because
Oh, it is here too.
Yeah, that I imagine that kids. Well, for example, like at like 5, 6 years old in Sunday school, one of my first questions for my Sunday school teacher was, "How did Noah get all them animals on that boat? Like, there's a lot of animals. How did he
Yeah.
do that?" And they told me I was going to hell.
What?
Yeah.
I want to know how they got all those damn dinosaurs on there. Is what I got a
Yeah.
question for.
They
We
told
didn't
us
believe
that
in
too.
dinosaurs.
I did.
Yeah, I was told not to by Mama.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
believed in them. I thought they were really cool, but I didn't
Yeah.
understand how it all worked.
Yeah.
I just knew they were real, but I didn't understand
Yeah.
because I didn't believe the Earth was like millions of years old. But I
Yeah.
didn't know the timelines. It was so confusing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, there you go.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wooden
There's
ramp was used.
in fact, and this is something else. Like if I met someone and said, "Oh, do you know my friend Kevin that lives down the road or whatever?" They would say, "Oh yeah, he's a good Christian man." That would be like that's how people are known. Or yeah, I don't know what church he goes to, so no, I don't know him.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Or you
Yeah,
meet someone and they'll say, "What church do you go to?" First question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
The
that.
Satanic Temple.
Ooh. No, nobody
I haven't
asks
tried
that
that.
here.
No.
Nobody asks that. Nobody says
Oh,
like,
that's
"Oh, what church do you go to?" That's one thing that.
No, because they're always too busy talking about hockey up there. Every time I got a buddy that lives in Toronto, and it's either the Maple Leafs he wants to talk about, or the basketball team. I can't remember.
Oh, Toronto Raptors.
The Raptors. God, I could remember that. You know, and it's always followed by a. It's like, okay, anything you say, Josh.
Eastern Canadians say it a lot more than Western Canadians. A.
Yeah.
I say hey.
Yeah, we say hey.
Yeah,
like
we'll
H-E-Y. Hey.
Yeah. You're like, oh, that was pretty cool.
Hey.
Yeah.
You don't say
the word
are
sorry
rebels.
is what caught my attention earlier.
Oh, we say sorry a lot.
all the
Yeah.
time.
I'm a big Trailer Park Boys fan, and
is that Canadian?
and
Yeah, of course.
that sorry sound kind of.
Sorry.
I know that's not
Sorry,
right,
yeah.
but that
Yeah.
that
I'm
catches
pronouncing
never
everything without T's.
I've
A
never
boat.
seen it.
What's a boot?
A boot, that's Eastern Canadian as well.
Yeah, that's my buddy. You know, everything.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
say
God.
about.
Yeah,
About.
I've
But,
never
I mean,
watched
you know.
Trailer Park Boys.
No.
My favorite Canadian show, absolute favorite Canadian show, everyone needs to watch it, is Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek and Corner
I've seen
Gas.
it.
Oh yeah, that's a good show too.
Yeah.
But Schitt's Creek is amazing.
Yeah.
I downloaded all of Schitt's Creek and watched
It's
it.
amazing.
Wasn't there a prequel to
very
that
legally,
show
of
at
course.
one time? Up a Creek Without a Paddle?
What?
Was
Yeah.
the sequel to it?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, okay. I cried so much in that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Kenny
Corner Gas,
versus
if you haven't seen
Skinny.
Corner Gas, watch Corner Gas. Try to get your hands on Corner Gas.
that's a good one too.
Kenny versus Spinny was one of my favorite Canadian shows. They live in a house together, and every week
It's a house.
they would have some competition like who can go the longest without stopping dancing or something. But
That would be
they pull pranks on each other like the whole time this is going on and stuff. So it's a really funny show, but it's probably right up there with the Trailer Park Boys as far as being like a raunchy comedy, because they do some weird shit. But anyhow, the back to the religion part. Well, I mean,
Hi, Derek.
I think it's incredible that, you know, two of you from the same family kind of came across this epiphany on your own, because, you know, even though like school and those things are what pushed me there, like it was after, you know, a solid year of watching Christopher Hitchens and all that I was like, oh yeah, wait a minute, that's fucking stupid what they said, you know, and that doesn't even make any sense. And you start to realize all these little Christian quips and things that they say, and you're like, but that's not even a reasonable thing to say. And then it becomes, you see the absurdity of it, and going back from that is just, you know, I have people say, well, what would it take for you to believe in God again? And I'm like,
Lobotomy?
Yeah. I don't think we have to worry about that, but let's pretend if I did.
A lifetime supply of
then,
tequila.
I think your God is evil, and I don't want anything to do with that. You know? So that's really where I ended up after it, and coming from experiencing some of the Pentecostal stuff and all that. I find that interesting. I didn't even know that there were practicing Pentecostals in Canada.
That you're the second American to say that to me.
But okay, we don't do anything with snakes.
No.
No, you do it with moose. The moose handlers.
Beaver. It's all about the beavers.
Oh, yeah. That's what she said.
It is all about the beavers.
She got me started pre-show.
That was a pre-show.
That was a little
inside joke.
I didn't start it. I swear to God, if I believed in him.
I started. That's what she said, and you guys rolled with it.
Okay. Yeah, we have one of the churches that I went to. they were part of the Canadian Pentecostal Assembly of Canada.
Yeah. PAOC.
Or Pentecostal Assembly of Canada,
Yeah.
PAOC, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, we have Pentecostal churches.
We have
Well, I mean,
You don't have the only Pentecostal churches.
yeah, you don't have the corner on PAOC.
well, mine has snakes, so
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you
You're
do.
gonna
Well,
keep
those
the
have got
our
loose and better
snakes are in the
Kool-Aid. We've already
pulpit.
established that, Joe.
Our snakes run the place.
Trent said, I can see D totally starting that. That's what she said.
Yeah,
He knows
Yeah,
you
you-
so well.
Joe, next time
totally
research your
did.
guests a little bit better. You said
Yeah.
these were mild people. Beaver. Damn.
And this is
They're shutting this stream down for you. Just lost your channel, your monetization, and everything, Joe.
Sorry.
I can keep
Oh,
that
oh my
shit.
god. I'll write you a check.
Yeah.
Make checks payable to Asshole 64 Incorporated.
Oh yeah, we discovered that we're both born the same year. What month were you born?
October 2nd. I know you didn't say
Oh,
day,
so
but
I'm older. I'm older.
I like older women, girl.
You sound like my son.
Oh my god.
Welcome to the
yeah.
Atheist Dating Show.
There you go.
Oh my
D likes
Ah.
moose, Kool-Aid, and cussing. Her turnoffs are Americans, Kentuckians, and religion.
Yeah.
Oh, I love how he differentiated between Americans
know,
and
like,
Kentuckians. I'm like,
Well, that's a separate
Well-
country. Every time I go to the doctor or the BMV, have you been out of the country? I said, and I always do. I swear to God. Do you count Kentucky as a different country? I go through there a lot, and it's like, okay.
Oh my god.
oh man.
It's a
Stacey's 4-year-old informed her the other day he likes older women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told him, he said he wants to be my boyfriend when he's 18. I said, well, when you're 18, you're going to want a girlfriend who's 18. He's like, nope, I like older women.
Plus,
I was like, where do you come up with this stuff?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I know.
So you said that for a while you got caught up in some QAnon stuff, and I have actually seen a couple of your streams where you talked about that. There's
She researched.
I researched it.
QAnon.
I didn't believe the QAnon.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's make that clear.
okay,
Well, okay. What? Oh, what do you mean? Okay.
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 I've met Pentecostals.
Yeah.
Well, Kentucky is a very red state, and the QAnon is strong here.
Yeah.
There's I get messages daily from like people I went to high school with and stuff that will just send me something on Facebook that's like some crazy QAnon stuff, and I'm like, and I message them back, and I'm like, you know that's not true, right? Like, you know that's like borderline nuts, that it doesn't even make any sense, and
They're
it's
long past the
there's
border.
no, I mean, you can't really talk someone out of beliefs, though. I mean, that's, and nor do I necessarily try to, but I mean, I don't care to look at someone and tell them that I think they're crazy.
Yeah.
Which I imagine, like all other things, the QAnon people here are a bit crazier. All the cousin bumping in Kentucky probably, I guess, I don't know.
It's not just in Kentucky.
No.
Yeah. No, I live real close to West Virginia too, so.
You're just making us want to visit.
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't.
Wait, let's go see
Don't.
the cousin's marriage again.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Well,
Don't do
yeah.
that to yourself. Come for the
art.
ticket at the art.
That makes
And
more sense.
Pay for the
It's-
food.
It's, well, we have good food. I mean,
Yeah.
Fried chicken.
yeah, we well, we don't eat that shit here. No one in Kentucky really eats Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I was just.
You got two choices.
I go
You
to
Kentucky
I go to
for the
Slim
art
Chickens and
or
get my
Dolly
chicken.
Parton's. Your choice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I love
No, you're
Dolly.
fine. At least the Ark is close to the border of Ohio, so you can get back to some form of civilization from there. It's just, it's right off the highway, so really, it's not too hard to get to. Kentucky taxpayers actually covered the cost of
I like whiskey.
fixing the highway for Ken Ham's Ark, and then he turned around and sold it to himself for $10 and made it a nonprofit, so that he didn't have to pay back any of those tax rebates.
Oh my
And
gosh.
now this has been litigated in court, and I think it may be back to being a for-profit. I think that's where they were going with it. I don't know if it's actually been enacted yet, but Ken Ham not only spends all the livelong day lying to children, but he ripped off Kentucky for something like $37 million. So
I'm laughing at that last comment.
Yeah.
we only have 40 here, so
Oh my gosh.
not joking. But so what made you decide to do the podcast thing? You said you had the idea and things.
Yeah. Well, we would just sit around and talk, and we're like, people would probably enjoy our conversations. Let's do it. So and also I was a co-host on Skeptic Haven. And then people would ask me, do you have your own podcast? And I'm like, no, I don't, but I'd like to. So I had a YouTube account because I would always go in live chats and stuff. And I just put it in the description. I put something in the description like thinking about starting a podcast with my mom, stay tuned. That was literally it. I had no start date, nothing. And then when I went on the line in April of last year, Jimmy Snow had me on his show called Hostility that he does once in a while. I don't think he does it anymore, but he saw that was in the description. And so when we were doing super chats, he said, you need to start that podcast with your mom. I saw that you put that in there. And I was like, yeah, we should. And during the super chats, he's like, the show's going to send you guys some equipment to get that podcast started. So our mic and our camera was a gift from the line to get our show started. And I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
So we're
doing it.
Yeah.
So he basically was like, go. And we did. So that's how it all came out.
Good call on his part. He picked a good one. Your guys' show is really great. It's it's not just because so many shows sit and talk about these things in a matter-of-fact fashion, and that's cool. Or you have shows that do comedy with it, but it's almost all that. And I think you guys do a good mix of both because it's fun to watch, and you can get a laugh at some of the things said sometimes, but at the same time, it's a very serious subject, of course. Yeah. And you guys handle that well. Like I said, you're slumming it coming here today because I very rarely even stay on topic. We've talked about religion for the whole first hour, so this is probably a record. Usually by now we're talking about, frogs or something, just something off the wall. Dave is here. We talk about Bigfoot a lot. But
poor Dave. I told him 3 or 4 weeks ago, I bought him something. It's customized. I had it sent to my house. Got here 2 weeks ago, almost to the day. I've mailed it to Dave, and Dave is maybe 300 or 400 miles from me. Actually probably a little bit more than that, maybe. It's been 2 weeks and it's still in transit. It's like, oh my God. Okay. But yeah, Dave, it's still in transit. I'm sure you're keeping track of it like me. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm sure he will. It'll be worth the wait when he gets it. Right.
Joe's seen it. I sent him a picture, told him to keep his mouth shut. But
I just want to send a shout out to Patrick. He's my bonus brother. He's in the chat, and I know his Detroit Lions are playing, so that's huge.
Wait, can you clarify? You say bonus or boner?
Bonus brother.
Okay, making sure. Because I'm saying, are you from Kentucky? Well, you're running up on these people,
He's not my brother by blood. He's my bonus brother. But he's been kind of following along. And
just
I know
hear what you want to hear, don't you?
Yeah,
no shit. You know, I hear boner and Viagra.
We got off on the wrong. We got off on the wrong foot. We got off on the wrong foot.
And all hell Bigfoot.
So I wasn't familiar with you from
Daniel.
Skeptic Haven, but I had seen you on the line previously. And I had, of course, I seen your mom first whenever you guys started doing the stream. And Jimmy said that your guys' show was going to be a really excellent show, and he was excited for it and all that. And I was like, well, I'll go look that up, and whenever they start making content, I'll catch it. And I'd actually, like I said, I'd watched a couple of your shows before I actually started making videos. My YouTube channel, even, I set up 2 years ago, 2.5, almost 3 now. But I had to have heart surgery, and I was in the hospital for a couple months and stuff. So I didn't really get going then. And then once I got back home and everything, it was that there was just, a lot going on with that and everything. And I didn't get into it. So I sat on it for years before I actually made the first thing. And then even then I wasn't sure that I was going to do more than that first video. And I was like, well, I'll keep going, I guess. And whenever I seen new content creators such as your channel, I was like, these people are doing it too. I can get up and make a video and talk to people and stuff. And it wasn't until like 6 months in, though, well, maybe 4 months in, that I ever did a live stream or anything. All my stuff was scripted, and I didn't appear in the videos.
Wow.
But
what
are you doing, Joe? Sorry, I just had a question for Stacie with an IE. People, don't forget the IE is important. Does your husband ever do streams? Because I think it would be fascinating to hear the other side of that, or his journey. Because every time I've seen you on a stream, you always emphasize how your mom and your husband were so supportive, instrumental, whatever you want to say in your journey. That I think it would be great to talk to Brian to say, hey, and I won't let him have just coffee. I'll get him the good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys drink up there, tequila, whatever.
We did interview him on our channel back in July. So yeah, he's been on our channel one time. Bye, Patrick.
Bye, Patrick.
Have fun. But I was thinking it'd be fun to have him on again as I don't know, just have him on again for something.
Yeah, he's great.
If he would, just throw it by him. And I'm kind of stepping on Joe here, but to see if he'd come on, because I'd love to, talk to him.
Oh, yeah.
Pick his brain on that. Because I've seen him in chat, and he's, a humorous guy, obviously, to put up with, religious craziness, and a woman that's older than me for a mother-in-law.
Religious crazy.
Yeah. No, he's great. And he's really good on camera too, and talk, because he has a background in broadcast journalism. So
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's gonna use big words, and we can't have him on here. Oh, wait, I see. He's a pre-sub.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So it'd be good.
I took broadcast journalism classes. It wasn't that. That's not the thing that made me talk like over people's head. It was definitely the computer science end of it. But I guess there's things in there there's parts of it you could, but what I'm getting at, whenever I came out of, I didn't come out, whenever I finished my first degree, it was like, I had a degree in computer science. So somebody would ask me something about computers, and my explanation was always some big thing that they didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And so because of that is why now whenever I talk to Christians or talk about religion, I don't try to
we will not be blocking BS Doofus from this broadcast. He hasn't asked for bouncing.
Whenever I would talk to people, though, I would be like, oh, yeah, you know, the whatever protocol. And it's because, you know, and I would just say things that people didn't understand what the hell I was talking about. So whenever I first started to approach this religion thing, not that I would talk, you know, not that I have anything to say that's all that enlightening anyway, but the, you know, I wanted to make sure that I pointed out that it's absurd on the face of it once you really examine it. And we can talk philosophy and evolution and all those things. And people like Matt Dillahunty are magnificent, do a great job. Arn Ra is amazing, but you don't have to necessarily be that to do this, because I mean, some of this stuff is so silly just from, you know, once you really look at it, it's so silly that you're just like, you know, I can understand it better, but do I really need to? And for a lot of people that are, I think, when they're first starting to deconvert and stuff, they don't know that there's this whole apologetics atheist thing going on YouTube where people are talking about the laws of logic and all that. Nobody thinks like that unless you're actually involved in that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so I tried to be like welcoming to people who don't want to hear about philosophy and science all the time. I mean, I'll talk science with anybody that wants to, but I find that most people don't really want to.
Yes, exactly.
And I just want to clarify something Al said. He's saying that babies are fun. Actually, other people's babies are fun because you give them back. You don't have to, you know, lose sleep overnight. Just like puppies. I got a puppy, and they're fun as long as somebody else can come take them for a few hours.
That's very true.
My kids were fine when they were babies. I liked them when they were babies. They turned into little Charlie Manson and something else. I don't know. They're maybe possession is a thing.
Oh, demons are real. Yes, you know, I've got a 7-month-old pup that I can. Yeah, I need to exercise those demons.
Yeah. Yeah, demons are real. He's at the store spending money right now.
That's another thing. They get more expensive the older they get.
Yeah. Well.
Did you check private chat, Joe, by the way?
No. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, nothing's private with you, obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just funny how they tell time up there, too. At the half-hour mark. What the hell's a half-hour mark? I'm looking at the clock going, oh, wait, that's like 15 minutes. Hey? Or hey.
Hey.
All right. Let's get
hey,
you know,
hey.
I just
hey, girl.
I was going to say which half-hour mark, the half hour of the hour or the half hour mark of the show, but they're both the same.
Here. Which time zone?
Oh my god. So
we started at 2, so they're the same.
Oh my god.
Yep, they're never coming back.
Now you know why I talk simple to people.
Oh my god, I love you guys.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah, Al, I used to be a Colts fan too until they lost yesterday. Dumbasses. That's why I said there's no God. If you're a Colts fan, you know there's no God.
Well, let's do this then. So where do you plan to I imagine you plan to keep doing the podcast thing. Do you have any other future plans for doing another show or being involved in something else? Or
yeah, so starting this Tuesday, I'll be going back to Skeptic Haven to co-host with David McDonald. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him from Deep Drinks.
Yep.
Yeah. So starting Tuesday, because I was with them for about a year, and then in July I stopped because I was working, and it was just I got really busy. So, but yeah, I'll be doing that again. So I'm super excited to do that. And then we have a collab with Sydney Davis Jr. coming up, the Skeptic University. She's planning this really amazing Skeptic University week with tons of other creators and doctors and scholars and all amazing.
Oh, I can see why she invited us.
Other creators too.
They had to dumb it down a little bit, I guess, for Kentuckians. But I believe it's about like the 21st to like the 27th of January or something like that.
It's huge.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, and today I was looking at some of the people. She got freaking Sean Carroll, who Brian worships.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go and tell him.
Oh.
So yeah, that's pretty amazing. And we were just talking today that we're going to plan something for next month which I haven't even, we literally talked about it this morning.
Yeah. So you get the scoop.
Yeah, we're going to plan a big stream that I need to plan.
We're planning. It's a plan.
It's a
we have
plan.
a plan to make a plan for the plan. So in March, I turned 60. February, she turns 40. It's a leap year. We were both born in a leap year. So we're going to do a dual birthday bash thing on February 29th online.
Yeah. So we just planned this morning.
We're planning the plan.
Yeah.
There's a plan to plan
What's
the
plan to plan the plan?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
So now I have
we're
to
going to
do
come
it.
up with a plan. And when we have the plan, we'll let you know.
Well,
Right. And
I'm
we
a
won't tell
former-
anybody until you plan
Okay.
it.
Just keep the plan in the plan.
Yeah.
I'm a former drug addict, so procrastination is, my thing.
Well, that's not in the
always-
plan.
Love
I always
That's
have
not in the
plans to
plan.
no
plan
time for
things.
that. We don't have time for that.
I'm a big procrastinator.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm always after her when she
I'm
procrastinates.
a really big procrastinator.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
anyways,
Crystal, her birthday's March 6th. Mine's the 10th. Crystal.
and my son is the 2nd. So anyways, so
So
that's
that's
kind
all
of
the stuff
stuff.
Stacey's
Those
doing.
are the things.
Before you guys go,
Mhm.
hey, Joe, I'm talking to beat the call. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
You sound really confused.
I didn't know what it said.
Okay. I'm just joking.
For those of you who don't know, this is where you can find the Stacie's Mom podcast. You can just search for it, and it'll if you just search for Stacie's Mom, you're gonna find a music video. That's not the same thing.
It's good, though. It's a good video.
It is.
It's a cute song.
Yeah. The you guys do you guys come on a certain day, or is it?
Yeah, so Mondays, it's usually like 4 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Pacific. It just kind of depends.
Whatever the guest can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where everyone can find the podcast, and go check them out because they are, again, like I said, I like to watch it. And if you're here
Aw.
watching me, I take,
You're so cute. I like to watch
I
it.
take inspiration from all the things that I take in, of course. And that's one of them. And it's not just informative, it's entertaining. And that's really what I like about it.
Thanks.
Things are falling. And
Yeah.
so that being said, you guys can, anytime you want to come in or stop in or whatever, feel free to. I usually leave these things open for anybody to join. And if you're ever just, messing around and
Hanging
feel
out.
like coming and hanging out and whatever, feel free to stop in. And again, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. I know that I know that here lately, especially you guys have been, pretty busy. I've seen Stacie, especially on a few channels, talking about the show and deconversion and things like that. And things are never too serious here. We try to have fun with it. And
I like fun.
yeah, if if we were to take things too seriously, it's
We'd probably all be crying right now if we took it too serious. Real men cry, except me. I don't do that shit.
Yeah. I feel like if you can laugh at something,
that's what I do. I don't have brains. I'm funny though, because I got it going on.
You do.
But if you can laugh at things, I feel like it's always easier to talk with people whenever you're having a good time and stuff, and not so serious. And I try to do that with theists too, but
Daniel's hard. He's out there in dreamland, but he's a challenge.
The problem is whenever I try to have fun with theists, is I never know what the hell they're going to say, and they like some, and I don't want to.
And you have me around, you never know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know what you're not going to say though, and
what's that?
we're not going to get into it.
Ask me, buddy. Ask me. I got controls.
Sometimes when I talk to these theists, then they come and like, well, this whole group of people's going to hell and they're, evil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. And so I'm always like, I have to be more careful when I talk to theists of how I set up the questions, because I try to avoid getting answers that I don't want. And it's a weird thing. I told Daniel, who is that person right there, strong. I told him the other day, I said, it worries me because I don't know what you're going to say. Like, I don't know if I go into this subject, if you're going to say some crazy stuff that, is hurtful and harmful to other people. And I know that you don't really feel that way. Like you don't personally feel that way, but it's tough. It's tough to make sure that we don't that we have a good time.
Then that all theists are evil.
Yeah. But I guess with that, I will let you guys get out of here, and I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up too. I'm not gonna stay on all day today.
Make sure to shout out Ember's 1.5K sub party. Yeah. So that's tonight.
Oh, that's tonight.
Yeah.
Ember is actually Ember covered that philosophy guy that came on to talk to you and Dave. He did a video about what he actually said and broke it down. And
it was good.
Yeah, he did a good job of explaining why not only he sounded stupid, but he was, just wrong too. But check out the Stacie's Mom podcast on Mondays, 4 p.m. Pacific. And I will be here every Sunday at 2 Eastern time. I don't know what that is specific time, probably like or
Eastern time. That's 11.
Are you trying to tell me something, Joe, that I won't be here anymore?
No. No, this is it for you. But a big thank you to everyone that came and watched today and left super chats and joined and all those good things. If you want to help out the channel, the easiest thing you can do is just like and subscribe. That's it's free and it's easy, and do that. But thank you guys. Thank everyone for watching, and